Hello and welcome to tonight's Sketchy Live. We are going to be talking about how do you calculate what to charge for your art? How do you work that stuff out? And at the same time, I'm illustrating the second Elijah and Crumpet kids book called Super Scout. These are all the characters we've got here for Super Scout. There's the book cover. And and I've got some answers that I got on Instagram as well as to how do you charge for your artwork. So that'll be cool to get into that. Now I'm working on characters. I think I'm ready to duplicate this one and bring her across. I'm going to just merge all these down. And then see what I can do. How you going? I haven't been too, I don't know, having troubles with this one. But hopefully get some stuff figured out tonight for her and start dropping them in on the pages. So, go palette for Scout colours. I can start filling out the uniform. Drag across the paint bucket and then bring up the threshold till it starts to bleed out, and then we know we've got a good coverage there. So the first person who got back to me about how do you calculate what you charge for your art was that artwork page. I said it depends on the art and the process. So I give a rough quote. So I imagine there, depending on the complexity of the art, how long it roughly takes, seems to be a fairly common theme amongst artists to kind of calculate how long something will take, and which is an interesting way of going about it, especially since I've been listening a lot to Chris Do from the Future YouTube channel, who pushes really hard for value-based pricing, because his argument is if you're supplying the product and the client's very happy with that product, what does it matter how long they take to make it? Like if they're extreme very quickly, I'm basically saying why would they have to be punished by being fast at your work? So he kind of argues for value-based art, which is a interesting way. I think it's a tough way for artists to think about how to get paid. But it's an interesting concept. I'm just trying to figure all this kind of stuff out myself, because there's no set thing, and because it's art, there's no real set rate. There's some pretty rough guidelines. I noticed there's a video which I might link in the description to 1000, who basically got a whole bunch of different artists at varying prices to illustrate individual pages of his kids' book, and obviously got some very good stuff, got some very cheap stuff, got some expensive stuff. Just interesting seeing what people charge for their art. And has your day been right? Have you been, you've been shooting at the library. Am I allowed to say that? You've been doing some shooting anyway with your son Tom and Elijah, which is cool. Getting into some filmmaking happening in the family. Good work day. Yes, library was good. Fantastic. Excellent. We've been desperately trying to fit everything in our bus for our trip up to the mid-north, is what they call it, for my wife's work. And because we've been kind of camping out in a cottage and the bus. I'm out in the bus at the moment, and yeah, constructing a bus, we've kind of accumulated a fair bit of stuff, so trying to fit in like sheets of ply and sheets of insulation we haven't installed yet into the bus while we're living in the bus. That's a crazy life we live in, but good fun. Elijah and Crumpet, that was Saturday. Tom has done the edit. Took 2 days. So how do we value his work? Oh, that's a very good question. It's a very good question, and it's also well, I might go on to the next question, that kind of next answer that probably helps answer some of that stuff. But this whole topic of discussion on the live stream, it's not like I'm going to come up with any answers, but I'm just kind of putting it all out there, talking about it. Depression Berry on Twitch, how you going? Great to have you here. We're illustrating a kid's book called Super Scout for Elijah and Crumpet, who are in the chat on me, the illustrator Andy Marshall, or Rob from Elijah and Crumpet. About the kids' book, or about the question at hand is, how do you calculate what price charge for your artwork? Artzilla Asia says it depends on the details. If you have more details, I charge more. So there again, it's getting a cross-section of artists, but also realising that, okay, so if there's more details, it's going to take more time, therefore I have to charge more. So there again, it's an hourly rate, really, isn't it? Depression Berry, if you're a illustrator or artist and sell your work, how do you calculate how to price your artwork? And please feel free to ask any questions in the chat. So, and I think it also depends on there's this calculation you've got to make of the market in your kind of niche charge for the kind of work you're doing. What is kind of, an average price? And that's obviously not work out. People aren't always willing to give up that information and talk about it in an open forum. I did realise that when I put this, so I've had questions on Instagram before that have been very well answered by lots of people. And as soon as you start talking about money and you're an artist, people tend to clam up and be quiet. It's a bit of an attitude thing. If you can work for experience or skill, assuming better quality fee, that's one of the things I was kind of getting to next, is is that you've got to take into account the artist's portfolio, and kind of use that as a bit of a basis. I was, start at what your minimum wage would kind of be per hour, because you're unexperienced and obviously a bit slower, and then work up from there. And as you get more work under your belt, then you can price more, charge more for that work. So I think there's a kind of a starting point for just kind of coming into this kind of work. Let's go back up here. Elijah and Crumpet said, then there is reputation or track record, which adds a premium up to most famous charging crazy amounts. Yeah, that's it. And that's the thing as well, I think that's a massive thing about, if we're talking about a thriving artist compared to just a kind of artist that can get by and pay the bills, is that you've got to supply something completely unique, whether it be how you create your work or the style of your work. Because the general idea of what I got from this 1000 video, where he got a whole heap of illustrators through Fiverr, I think it was, and they were than $5, and of varying skill levels and varying rates, is that there are lots of people out there doing it, but you've got to have a style, I think, that stands out, something that is special to you, that you can develop and as original to your style, and then you can charge above the average rate, because if it's something that's sought after, you can charge above the average rate. So that's my general from that video. Now, Yes, and robbers. Picked up a scarf on the left of his shoulder. Yeah, I am aware of that, but thanks for reminding me. When I brought it across, I went, yeah, I didn't do that, did I? But thanks for reminding me. I'll head over there in a second. So this is the... Oh, that's because I did that on... There we go. Now... And I haven't made the collar extremely straight, but if it looks too wonky, I can fix that up. But I just didn't want to kind of make it too like cardboard cutout. I wanted it to feel a bit organic, but I might have overdone it. It's always a danger. So are you okay if I share my thinking on our collaboration? Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Rob. An open book. Anything that I can put out there that might be helpful. For others. So, gonna run there here. And also, Rob, you might have noticed later start time because the sun's just setting a whole lot later now, and the kids just aren't going to sleep. But that is all going to really change when I'm hopefully going to start doing this during the daytime. Which will be easier on me. Saying, so we didn't really know at the start, so we agreed an amount for a double page, therefore for book plus storyboard plus cover. Yeah, we kind of worked out that we would need a storyboard as a way of planning the book, and also in the early stages which was also another fee, basically to come up with that bit's not yellow, basically to come up with some drawings that kind of gave an idea of what it was going to look like. And then we could start working on a double page spread is something easy to calculate. That's a large piece of artwork. Transactional, the project needed to succeed with a promise of further work. yeah, and that's it. Like, you know, I know from my point of view, is that you know, I wanted, obviously as the illustrator portion of a kids book collaboration, you want the collaboration to work. You don't want to just try and get as much money as you humanly possibly can, and have the project not be profitable for everybody. Like, it's got to work for everybody. It's got to be profitable for everybody. And if it is profitable for everybody, then there will be, you know, a potential that, you know, hey, we might want to do this again, kind of thing. So, in an early stages of a project, that's definitely something worth taking into consideration. I'll put it over there. Now, with one book done, we're able to attract customers for the next book with a plan for sales. So it's not just covering the cost of illustration, but I'm keen to add a royalty bonus per book, which would be awesome. I mean, that would be amazing and very generous. Because I suppose that's really where a really good collaboration comes in, you know. Both parties are trying to look after each other and make sure that it's a viable and thing for everybody. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a very good... What's going on? Yeah, I've lost the yellow strip on that sleeve. Is that what you were talking about before, the scarf? I've actually lost the yellow stripe on the sleeve as well. That's interesting. To go in there, and it looks like there was remnants of it there from before. So here goes. So yeah, I think that's a really good insight as to how everything got started. A payment in terms of between Rob and myself. That's right, I need to merge that one down. I've got something weird going on in here that I need to fix up. With a rough kind of pen. So book 2 is an illustration fee up front, but we don't know how many books will sell. But we have secured book 3 with a set amount of 1,000 books, so I can confidently add an amount now. That's cool. Blue strip on collar 2, yes, yep. yeah, so it's all a bit of a juggling act, and it was also, for those who don't know, Motivate Man was a Kickstarter campaign as well, so that was also always a good, I mean, we worked, I think you planned to make the amount a bit lower, didn't you, Rob, on the Kickstarter, so you could, because then if it's a successful campaign, then you do actually get the money, which is great. And we were very successful, which is brilliant. Yes, I agree. It's got to be a mutually beneficial endeavour to get both our reputations growing together. For sure, yeah. And, you know, it's been a new endeavour for both of us. Because it's not like one of us has done all this before and has that experience behind them. Now going here for blue bits that often get overlooked. I've got my neighbourhood dogs being yelled at the background. It's a peaceful ambience. Plus we don't have an experienced publisher guiding us. Yes, very true. And, you know, there must obviously be benefits to having an experienced publisher, but then there's the added cost of that as well. I was looking at some stuff today as to how much publishers can take, and yeah, it's a fair bit. They do put in work, but it's a fair bit. Now I just want to hit back down in here. Some more sketchy. Actually, I think I'll go over blue actually. Whoops, wrong layer. Go, need to get as well. So who else did we have? We had Prince of Cavan saying, what I would pay, plus the time taken, plus materials, plus a little extra. Although I always seem to undervalue myself. And that's a big thing. Always, I see it as a massive thing, is that because people enjoy their artwork, and art is one of those things which can be viewed as a hobby or fun, and it is fun, but you know, it is also still work, and I think people have a hard time being able to say, yes, this is worth this much, because well, it took that amount of time, but I was having fun doing it, so therefore I won't charge enough for my equipment, I won't charge enough for my time, and I'm just happy to get to work, you know. And I think that can be a bit of a damaging way to think as an artist. And we've got to remember, just because it's fun doesn't mean you can't charge for it. Blue collar triangle is not so wide, only a quarter across. Okay. But so with the Prince of Caverns answer there, it is an hourly based kind of thing as well. The only thing where value based comes in is where he's talking about comparing it to a current market and going, what will people pay for this type of work? So I suppose that adds in a small amount of that value-based idea. I see your monkey. Blue collar triangle is not so wide, only a quarter across. Yep. We can do that easily now. Yes, for anyone watching on the replay, the monkey, if you're watching on YouTube, that is, the monkey is means stop what you're doing. You're doing something. You need to pay attention right now because it's not right. You've done something wrong. It's basically Rob putting up a flag, going, pay attention. What do you think about that, Rob? How does that look? For coverage. I'll just have a sip of coffee while you're having a look there. And as always, anyone on any of the platforms, Facebook, Twitch, got any questions, please feel free to drop them in. The subject of the night is, how do you charge for your artwork? A bit more coffee, and please hit the like button and subscribe too. You don't have to, but it's nice if you do. Alright, so I take that it's pretty good then. Rob, I'll get back to. I do love that warping tool where you can get in there and really move stuff around. So going Now, what do we think here? We've got some dark skin, light skin, slightly olive skin here. Just trying to get a good variety of characters here. She's got like a pink skin. Might go more olive like this guy here. For skin tone. Trying to get a good kind of cross section of cultures and one of the big themes is inclusivity and trying to make as many people kind of feel included as possible. Good current market is also important, yes. And current market for what you're actually creating, And it's not just kids' book here, it's all kinds of... There's fashions and fads, and everyone else is cheaper. Your own prices have to drop unless you have a point of difference or a famous simply supply and demand. Yeah, that's it. And just to kind of go outside of that, outside of art, is that I used to run an outdoor cinema business, and for many years I had it pretty easy because I was the only person doing it, because you had to have film reels and you had to transport them outside, which was highly impractical and very hard work, and I was pretty much the only person doing it. So, and because it's location based, I pretty much had the South Australian market for outdoor cinemas. But then came along digital projection gear, which made it all a lot more accessible, and lighter and more transportable. And then you'd have things like, blow up movie screens and things like that. And they would, coming in cheaper and cheaper. So basically anybody could buy this stuff and do an average outdoor cinema show. And most people are happy with that. So kind of my point of difference at the time is I was using kind of cinema quality equipment and stuff like that, as opposed to just, domestic fun stuff. But the funny thing is that people didn't really respond to that in that setting. Like, people didn't really care if they had 4K projection or if they had, the kind of resolution. So what I kind of was about to do before I shut the business was make the cinema completely unique by having like a caravan projection box, which would do its own kind of candy bar and things like that, and a special kind of cafe, and it was going to be quite elaborate, but basically people would hire me and it would be a complete setup, and it would be more fixed to one particular size of event as well. But anyway, so that's kind of like when you can't compete on price. This is a very long-winded way of saying, if you can't compete on price, or don't want to compete on price because, it becomes a race to the bottom, as some people like to refer to it as, you got to provide something different, something people will pay what you're worth for. Trying to work out where this little bit is. I've just said everyone else is cheaper, your own prices have to drop. That's your point of difference firms, yeah. That's the one we just covered. So thinking down here. Yeah, so it's there where I want it. Have to kind of fix that little bit up. Sadly. There we go. And go in this other arm. And up next we had Wolf Studio saying square inches, the cost of frame and complexity. We're talking Einstein math here. Square inches, so charging by square inches, that's really interesting. Cost of frame, complexity, also sounding like a time-based way of charging, plus obviously your expenses. And Einstein math. I never was that good at math. But I suppose that's how Michael works, because he has a particular style of painting, and I suppose it's a matter of working out your style of painting or illustrating. But some people do extremely detailed work on very small canvases, and some people do massive stuff. That's very quick and easy. Like, there's this guy I see on YouTube who basically gets buckets with holes in them and puts them on a string and lets them go, and they make pretty patterns over his of his canvas. And sure, you know, he's got to have the studio for that, and it takes a long time to probably set it up. But the actual creation of the artwork, it's massive, but it takes him like about a minute to create. You just let the bucket go and let the random, well, it's not random, I'm sure there's a science to it. But you see what I mean? I think going by the... I mean, maybe once you know the cost of your own work, you can work on a size basis, canvas size basis. Because then you're talking about digital work, is like you can make the canvas as big or small as you want, you know. When you're not in the traditional realm. Okay, and I tend not to do like a complete feel of the eyeball. I like to do it, like to fill it in as a sketch pen, so you still get that texture in there. Kind of like to do that with my filling. Just gives it a bit more of a tactile, non-digital, pencil sketch type illustration, which is kind of where this has come from. Like I started off, I mean, I do have pencil sketches under these, but I was using them but I found that it was causing some quite big issues in terms of resizing and scaling and whatnot. Now I'll go kind of a pink tongue. Get on the colour wheel and then just make that darker for the inside of the mouth. And then the whole thing's gotta get a black shade on it. My screen is very small. I'm getting a bargain again, Andy. My screen is very small. I'm not sure what you mean by your screen is very small. The screen you're looking at it on is very small. Now then, plan is to go up here and do black fill. Of the mouth, and then I can shade it, and then I can add highlights. These are the stages of drawing where it looks messy and wrong until you see what's happening at the end. Okay, why am I blacking out those teeth? Good. Okay, now isn't that nice? Some black lipstick going goth, but no, that's not what's happening. So we can bring that down like so, and then we can add a little bit of, by going in with the eraser. I think on a monoline, can just get a bit of a highlight. The tongue there, and maybe a bit around the teeth. That might work, maybe it doesn't work. And maybe it's a case of opacity down a bit, just to make it a bit more subtle. Joke about charging by the square meter inches. Oh yeah, okay. Yes, your screen is very small. I get it now. Gee, I'm a bit slow on the uptake, Rob. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're looking at it on your phone, aren't you? Alright, I can start to merge some of those down now. Alright, did I have any others here? What have we got? We got a couple. A charge per size of canvas. There we go again. That's from Crazy American Painter. So these are real artists out there working, making money from their art, and this is how they charge. They charge them per size, charge them per meter. I don't know, it seems a bit funny to me. Feels a bit industrial, like, you know, you're not painting a house. You're going, oh, how many rooms have you got? Okay, it's going to be this much. Kind of taking out, I don't know, taking something away from the work, I think. You know, you've got to charge, you've got to find some way of charging. I'm not saying there's any right or wrong ways here. I'm just discussing what people do. Now, Rob, we haven't really talked about all the different badges for the other scouts. I can put, what does the maroon dot mean? Can I put on a maroon dot? It normally goes on the left hand sleeve. something like that. Yeah, no, I actually like that mouth shadow there. I might even do some eyeball, white of the eyeball shadow. What was I going to do next? That's right. So, as you can see out, so I've got my characters gallery. Rob knows all about this, but everyone else is not. So I've got all my characters. I've got Elijah. I've got Safi. So, and I'm kind of layering them in on backgrounds, which are down here. But up here I've got all my badges that I need for the scout uniform, and there may be some extra badges which need to be added because we've got all these extra characters apart from just Elijah, because these are just the badges that Elijah has. So yeah, I can definitely paste in our Scouts Australia. And get in there a bit bigger. Something like that, and just make it kind of fit a bit more to the thing. You can kind of warp it a bit with the fabric. Let's see what else we've got here. We have Pattertown, time spent on the project, its complexity and materials, shipping as well, when it is an original piece. So, time, complexity, materials seems to be a common theme. Christo seems to be out on his own here. Who's right or wrong? I don't know. Definitely worth checking out the Christo. He has a TikTok as well, which raises some really important questions about price. Elijah, I'm sorry I haven't been able to check. The side dot is actually a patrol indicator in a scout group. They split them into patrols. Elijah is actually brown, but it doesn't matter. Okay, all the kids are in the same patrol. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. So, obviously I've made these logos because I've added quite a bit of detail to these logos. They're virtually a copy of the logo because, they have to be accurate. They're not going to be an artist's representation. They're going to still have that hand-drawn feel but remain accurate. So, yeah. Oh, that's what I need to add. I need to add a big scout one there. Pocket has a button dark blue. Yeah, I've got the button. That's my button there. Maybe the button needs to be. So Rob, yeah, I'm thinking, it's hard to think of working on any other projects, but apart from Elijah and Crumpet projects, but I'm thinking my point of difference could be, like, I really enjoy the collaborative process, creating live and creating not only for myself but creating content for the client, for you. Like, see, most people would go, okay, go away, do the job, come back, here it is, here's a handful of notes. But yeah, I kind of want more than that. I really like the relationship you have with the author. It's a collaboration, and you're creating content as well which has value. I think it's an exciting thing to be able to provide. Like, if you had videos of, I wish I could remember the illustrator for Julia Donaldson's books, but if you had Julia Donaldson, I think it's Alex someone, might be Schaefer or something like that, could be completely wrong, but you imagine, like, if they just jumped on lives and were doing live streams of the creation of the Gruffalo and the snail on the tail of a humpback whale, and you were there while the creation of that was going on. That's all amazing content, good stuff which can be used for promotion as well. Gets the community involved around the artwork. Book, I think it takes everything to a whole new level, and I think that's where, for the time being, until everybody else starts doing it, that's where my point of difference comes in. Because, if someone just wanted to create a book and they didn't want me to document it, and I don't know that I'd really be interested, to be quite honest. Because I can really see the value in doing it the way we're doing it. So point of difference is creating kids' books live with either the author or the audience or whoever, providing input and feedback and stuff like that, creating content around the production of the book. Schaefer, yes, I knew. That was pretty much what I said, wasn't it, Alex Schaefer? Yeah. I tell you what, looking at this drawing of a koala definitely has Alex Schaefer influences. I thought, how am I going to draw his eyes? I thought, Alex Schaefer, he just does dots. Providing Alex Schaefer is actually a guy. Alex could be a woman, I'm not sure. So I've definitely got my influences on the Logan District Koala badge from Alex Schaefer. Thank you for my research team, my kids love those books. I love those books. You see, they are the kind of books if you can create a book where not only the kids love the books, but the parents love reading the books, that is the ultimate, and that's what I kind of really love, the rhythm that you create in your stories. Robert's kind of got that same kind of feel. Okay. I'm going to check the airline in there one anyway. I can delete the airline one. I know not everyone has the airline one, but just kind of... fills out the sleeve. And we want some whites of eyes. If we remove the background, we realise we've got no whites of eyes. It's a good way of checking what you've got filled. Oh, Axel. Not Alex. Okay. You see, that's why I'm the illustrator. Because I can't read very well. There's a reason why he's the illustrator. Anybody watching on the playback's probably screaming at me, going, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And you know what? Here we go. Looking good. Axel, eh? Axel. bit of a plan here. We go in for some dark brown. Shy Fleur. Oh man, we're really messing it up. Axel Shy Fleur. Chef Fleur. I will never, that's it, I'm never referencing anyone again on the live stream. There's too much room for it. And all of a sudden I go, it sounds French, no? Axel Chef Fleur. I'm sorry. We should see if Qantas want to have their name on it. Qantas, oh yeah, on the badge. Frequent flyer. Always thinking, Rob, and you'll probably make it happen too. Bit of product placement. Be hard to put a little red kangaroo on the back of it. Well, it's a white kangaroo with a red background. So, too much out there. Come back in here with my sketchy line. Sketching, that one. I'm going to tidy up this edge. As long as I get on the right layer, somewhere up here will do. One thing I wanted to do, like with the teeth, is just do a little experiment with the eyes. So go black again, go monoline. Make sure I'm really drawing it on a layer all of its own. Bit of eyeliner. Had the lipstick, now we're going some eyeliner. Make her look like some kind of devil, and then go in with a razor on something smooth like that. first. Might even bring them down just a little bit more. It's a bit too much of a hard edge. Just subtle. This brings it more to life. Very good. Now, did we have anyone else here? We had, oh yeah, we got a biggie here. Oh, but I didn't put him in the right spot, did I? There we go. So, to tell the truth, I asked my daughter at the last exhibition, now 2 years ago, I took a framing cost, then factored in gallery commission, then added a bit for me. I didn't add too much because I didn't want to seem too full of myself. I didn't do all that much better than break even. It's hard being an impoverished great master, says Anthony Antfox. He's from South Australia, Adelaide Hills. And he's been around a while. He's an artist who's been around a while here locally, and even he doesn't charge enough. It's interesting just to hear from other artists and hear what they do and how they work it. Okay, let's go out to one of our big backgrounds. And we're well over our hour. I need to draw faster. Always been a thing. Just don't draw fast enough. Yeah, we could go that one. Let's have a look at which way is she facing. She's facing. I can always flip it. Let's have a look here. Because I've added that title in for my thumbnail. Can get rid of that. And we've still got to put Elijah and Crumpet in over here, and we've got to be sitting these two girls down. And she needs to be on the same level. She's behind the smoke now. So I've got to adjust her body so she's sitting on a log. But yeah, this is going to look really good. So we'll sit her on a log like this guy here. And I reckon we'll sit her on a log, but not her. I think it's fine to have someone standing. And then we put Elijah and Crumpet in here, and then the marshmallows. Oh, she's not really standing in the fire. So that's a pretty good looking scout troop, or whatever you like to call them. Is it a scout troop? I don't know. Anyway, so thank you everyone watching on the playback. Once again, if you are watching the playback on YouTube, please remember to subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please drop me a comment, hit the like or whatever is on the platform that you've got, and have a great time. Lead Game Director, thank you very much from Twitch. Thanks for dropping in. And thanks everyone. Mass production is good. Prints or books. Too right it is. Okay, thanks for dropping in everyone, and we'll catch you tomorrow night. Until then, good night and sweet dreams.